This is Daily Blast Live. We're talking about what you're talking about. Real, honest, entertaining, live. DBL starts right now.
3, 2.
Thank you, David. Welcome to DBL. I'm Sam here with Tori, Jeff, and Al. We're doing things a little differently today. We got a little treat for you all. We're going to look back at some of the moments on the show that got us talking, like the story about Jay Leno, who apologized after decades of making jokes about Asian people. I thought it was too little too late, but Al and Jeff were a bit more forgiving. Have a look. Okay, so Al, as a comedian, what do you make of his apology and even some of his previous jokes at the expense of Asian Americans?
I mean, a little late now. You already cashed the checks for them. I mean, you go after smaller and marginalized groups because they're easy, because they can't fight back. And he had his opportunity, and if memory serves, I should have looked this up during the break, but I believe one of his first movies as a young comic was with Pat Morita. You know, and you would think that they would have formed a bond, so when he told those jokes, he would be thinking of his friend. So I just find this very disturbing.
Yeah,
and it's called Collision Course. They did make a movie, like in, I think, the 80s at some point. So it's very strange.
It's a very obscure reference.
I watch a lot of comedy.
Jay Leno and Pat Morita. All right, so anyways, I don't think this is cancel culture at all. And you know how I feel about cancel culture. This is accountability, right? He's taking accountability for what he has done in the past. And I think everyone's got to look in the mirror and not necessarily go on social media and point the finger, but look at themselves and say, I could have done better. I should have learned from that experience. Because who is perfect in this life? Who hasn't said something? Me and my friends, I'm going to give a perfect example without using anything. I have a diverse group of friends, and I'll use my Mexican friends as an example. I'm part Italian, part German. We crack on each other all the time with certain stereotypes, but that's in our small group. Does that make it okay because we're in our small group, or should we not even set that example? We're not doing it out in public, but that's how we kind of,
I think friends interacting is kind of,
me and you
fine.
crack like that. Yeah. There are certain stereotypes that we bounce off on each other, but does that mean it's not okay to say at all?
I think that's different when you're in your own circle, and that's going to be up to you and your own circle, right?
Right.
Now, with Jay Leno, I take the opposite.
Because he's on a public forum, yes.
Well, Erica, and jump in here, I think too little too late here. I'm glad he's finally taking accountability, and I do agree with Jeff that this is accountability culture, consequence culture, but I feel like he's been pressured into finally apologizing. It's been too many years. Too many years.
I was into that, though.
That was good. I forgot we did that segment.
You guys did really well. It's a great talk.
Are you sad you weren't in that segment?
A little bit. But it's a good conversation because I don't think there's an answer.
It's just, why did it take so long?
Well, don't forget Erica's comments, which we didn't air, where she was saying a lot of this came up because, remember, Gabrielle Union said that he was making inappropriate jokes on AGT.
Yep.
So that's an important thing as well.
And that was, what, a year ago?
Yeah. So, you know, props to her for standing up. But, you know, that's where the pressure thing comes from.
Exactly. All right.
Props to us, you mean, because that was a great discussion.
It really was.
All right, guys, this next discussion is about the safety of Peloton treadmills after some kids and pets were injured around them. But then Sam took it in a whole different direction, as usual. Take a look. I promise you more people got hurt with those exercise balls than all those equipment put together, because people do stupid things on there, for sure. But I have an elliptical in my basement that we just got, and my kids come down in the morning, they're 2 and 4, to say goodbye to me if they go to school. And I'm like, hold on, guys, and I get off because there's swinging parts moving. I get off and give them a hug and a kiss by the door, and I'm like, this is Daddy's room, don't go in here, right? So you have to have caution. Why are you laughing?
I'm a child. I'm an absolute
Why? What did
child.
I do? What happened?
The balls. No, it's Tori. It wasn't even that. It was swinging parts. Sorry. I'm an absolute kid, and Tori is a kid clearly
Monday morning?
as well. I know. I've been on vacation. My mind is completely just like.
Just about swinging parts? You must have had fun.
I did. We do have
Give me some visuals of Mark.
Whoa. No. Okay.
I wasn't even paying attention. I was looking at my eyebrow.
You're like Nike swoosh.
Wait, explain what happened. Explain why.
So I got Botox, and then I guess it's called like a Spock eyebrow. So I was just like, I was like, oh my God, my eyebrows. And then you have to go back in, and they do another one, and it comes down.
Yeah, they do a touch up, and then it'll lower the Spock eyebrow.
But I didn't know. Jordan's like, I think you need to go get that fixed.
I
don't know.
That's a real relationship.
You didn't see
it?
I was like, dude, I look great.
They were like antennae.
They were like antennae.
Do you want to get into that, Tori?
What? I'm fine. I look great.
Okay, remember the story about a couple couple of young girls who took their parents' car keys and headed out on the freeway at 3 a.m. That got us talking about things we did when we were young to defy our parents. Have a look.
I honestly think.
Don't drink and drive, people.
Do not, obviously.
Do not drink and drive.
I'll just say this. This strikes me, Jeff, Tori, as somebody that's way too comfortable with their folks. Like, public. No, I'm telling you.
Don't parent shame, because you don't know if these kids. Okay.
I'm not parent shaming. I'm just saying there was a certain generation of children. I was one of them. Other kids were not. That were scared to death of their parents to do anything. Like, scared to take extra cookies because dad'll know. So the idea of even reaching for his keys, that would have been a scandal between me and my sister. So the idea of actually taking them, it was implausible. It couldn't happen.
I think it shows ambition.
Okay, talk to me.
Yeah, I think. Listen, I don't condone this. What they did was totally wrong. But sometimes if you have parents that want to keep you in a box, right? If I told my mom, I did go to Los Angeles, but my mom was like, get a job at UPS. It's so much safer. You could have a family. If you don't take those steps in life to break through that box, like these kids tried to do, you're never going to get to where you want to be.
I'm with Jeff. They escaped the cage. I don't agree with your who took the cookie from the cookie jar.
The cage that keeps them from being on the highway at 3 a.m.?
The analogy that you took from a children's nursery book?
What? No. Are you guys defending these children?
No, I'm not defending them. But, okay, Tori, nobody's answered the story if they did anything bad as a kid. Tori, did you do anything bad as a kid?
I'm not dry snitching.
I was really sassy with my parents, and one time when I slammed the door, I'd slam it and open and slam it and open and slam it and open until the door fell over and I broke the door. That was pretty bad.
We did that too. My dad took all of our doors off the hinges. All of them off the hinges.
Maybe he just didn't trust what you were doing in there.
No, he took them all off the hinges because he could not stand his 3 daughters constantly doing the Tori, opening and shutting the door hard.
Y'all did not grow up in
You just yelled at us for not answering the question, and then you didn't answer the question.
I just did. Oh, my own really bad story?
Yeah, you got to say it now.
Well, it wasn't too bad. I did throw a party. It became way out of control. Like, this was junior year. Everybody showed up. Everybody under the sun decided to come to Sam's house when I was very strategic, invited like 12 of my friends. But I would say like 100 people showed up. I called the cops on myself to get those people.
What a nerd. What a nerd alert,
decision.
Tori. You're
Did Blink 182 play there? It sounds like American Pie.
You know how my dad found out? Because he told me years later. Because I was such a good kid.
The cops called and complained about you being such a nerd.
No. My dad told me, my dad knew immediately, because not only we have neighbors, like all the neighbors were like, yo, your daughter threw a party, but all the beer in the fridge was missing. So my dad, like 10 years later, told me he always knew.
But no damage?
And I was such a good kid, he just like knew that
let it go.
I was my own worst enemy.
Good for him. Yeah. That's amazing. All right, well, we all still had okay. Good job, Tori. We all had a bit too much fun with this story about an Italian artist. Y'all remember this? Who sold his invisible sculpture for 18 grand. Watch.
Tori, you're the art major. What's going on here?
Wait, I got a surprise for you, Sam. I got the sculpture.
You thief.
Oh my God.
No, very quickly, I'll just say art is what the people will value it as. In the 14th, 15th, 16th century, it was all religion. In the 1950s and 60s, Andy Warhol was like, well, is a soup can that's always on your grocery store, is that art? Is commercialized things art? So he sold that for $1 gazillion.
At least it's
so
an object,
art is
Tori.
what its value is.
Don't you dare defend this, Tori. This is like
I'm defending this.
Clothes, right?
That really is. That's exactly what it is.
Clothes. This is a joke.
Well,
but that's a thought. That's a critique of where art is now.
Hold on. Speaking of visible things, I'm breaking the invisible fourth wall, because right before the show started, our executive producer Chris comes over and goes, "Hey, maybe make a joke and pretend it's on the desk." Right? In my ear, Arash goes, "Hey, pretend it's right in front of you." And then Tori goes first. She goes, "Look what I got."
Earning your paycheck today.
We are well produced at this show.
Do I have a quarter behind my ear, Tori? What's that, little fella?
What was funny about that is Chris comes up to me and Al, and he goes, "Which one do you want to do it?" And Al goes, I go, "No, you could do it." And I go, "I don't. That's a dumb idea." And then Tori comes out and goes, "Hello."
Tori stepped
well.
up.
It's a lot of improv work, space work. You really have to commit to
Like
where
miming.
it is. Yes.
Miming.
Where am I? Where am I? Where am I?
That's what I'm saying to myself.
That was good. Coming up on
I'm thinking,
DBL.
why are you here? Why are you
But is this Modern Family throuple? Introducing 3 guys who are in love with each other and raising 2 babies all together. And Al and Tori dish on their favorite TikTok home hacks. Are they a hit or a miss? Stay with us.
That hair.
The eyebrows
are back?
Welcome back to DBL. TikTok home hacks are all the rage. Recently, we went through some of our favorites. Al and Tori also offered up their own hacks, but we'll let you decide if they were a hit or a miss. Take a look. The dotted lines on all of our pizza boxes, well, apparently they have a purpose.
What?
This user says if you tear along the edges and sides, you can make a small box for leftovers.
Oh my God,
Now
that's
this one had
insane.
some skeptics in the comment section. Al, what do you make of that?
I mean, I think, look, I've been trying to tell people about TikTok for a year. I still do the popcorn one where you cut the corner of the popcorn when it comes out of the microwave and you get all the seeds out. There's so many, if you need to learn how to clean, if you're a single guy that doesn't know how to really clean your house deep clean, there are hacks for that. Get on TikTok, the hacks are amazing.
Ooh.
I don't even get the seed one.
So can you imagine if you make a little hole, all the seeds are gonna come out, and the popcorn's bigger, so they're not gonna come out.
Oh, that's brilliant.
Yeah.
That's a good one, Al.
TikTok pop
really good
pop.
one.
That's good.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
That was terrible, Tori.
Speaking of refrigerators, if you have a stainless steel one, you know how easily they get covered in smudges and fingerprints. Miles always has his dirty little hands on them. Well, TikTok says to bust out the WD-40, users claim spraying WD-40 on your stainless steel appliances not only removes smudges, but keeps them looking cleaner for longer. I had no idea.
I'm doing this when I get home.
Me too. So do your kids always
all
Me
over
too.
it. And we have a garbage can that's like that too, and they're all over everything.
Yes.
I hope
Dirty
it's not
little
like slippery when you're just like.
Did you Did this blow your mind?
Yeah, I kind of knew this one. I'm kind of into hacks. I like hacks.
I know you have a thing that you call.
Yeah.
What do you call it?
Well, there's one called Tipsy Tori and there's one called Hack of All Trades. But I just really love hacks. I think it makes life a lot easier.
What's Tori's biggest hack that you could share with our viewers?
If you have a party and you have leftover wine, pour it into the ice cube trays, then pour some garlic and some basil, put it into the freezer. When you want to make pasta, you just melt it in with pasta as a red wine sauce.
Great idea. That's brilliant.
Or you
I don't
could
know
be
if there's
an
a red
adult with
wine sauce
dignity and not
pasta.
have frozen wine in your freezer.
Have you ever heard
That's
of a
what I would
red
do.
wine
Because if I
looking in
saw
your
a woman that had frozen ice cubes of wine, I would walk right out the back door.
Okay, Albert. No one's looking in Tori's freezer.
Yeah, I think it's a good way to save and recycle and
I'm with you,
reuse, and I
Tori.
think it's a really good
Hold
hack.
on, let's go back to,
We
do
have
you
one
want
more hack.
marinara, creamy, or red wine?
Yeah.
She's talking about normal
Would
pasta.
you like some parsley ice cubes? No.
Rude.
If you're drunk
Tori,
and you take everything and pour it into an ice cube, you can eat it later.
You're the worst.
Okay. Tori, how often do you use that hack?
That's not a hack.
Yeah, it totally is a
There's
hack.
no such sauce as red wine sauce.
On
That's
chicken
not a-
there is.
What?
No.
White wine sauce.
Again,
you
there's
can't
no
change
such
the
thing as
color.
red wine pasta sauce.
So to use white wine.
Coming up on DBL, Meet a Modern Family.
Terrible hack.
That's defying relationship and parenthood norms. They are three men loving and living together while raising two babies.
Welcome back to DBL. Some say three's a crowd, but not for three men in San Diego who are all in a relationship and raising babies together. Here's a look back at our interview about life as a throuple in today's DBL Spotlight.
Remember the movie 3 Men and a Baby? About 3 men who band together to raise an infant? Well, Ian Jenkins, Alan Mayfield, and Jeremy Allen Hodges are just that. 3 men raising babies together. The difference? They're all in a relationship with each other.
I just don't think humans are actually built to be monogamous animals. So having an open relationship allows you to learn more, grow more with an additional person.
Ian and Alan have been a couple for years, but they wanted to bring in another person to complement their relationship. So when they met Jeremy 9 years ago, they just felt he was the perfect fit.
We just had amazing chemistry with Jeremy.
Having a baby is not an easy task for many same-sex couples, never mind a throuple. But in 2017, in a landmark case, they fought to have all 3 of their names listed on their daughter's birth certificate and won.
Piper goes to preschool, and then we play with Parker, and we're teaching him to speak and play and have fun with him. It's really pretty ordinary.
Ian, Alan, and Jeremy, welcome to Daily Blast Live. When people hear the word throuple, they might not even know what to make of it or what that means. So, Ian, would you best describe your relationship in your words? Go ahead, you have the floor.
Sure. It's really not any more complicated than we're just an ordinary family, but instead of 2 parents or 1 parent, there's 3. Really not any more complicated than that. And when people come over, it takes them about 10 seconds to adjust, and then they realize, hey, we're just regular people.
Jeremy, how did you feel about entering into a polyamorous relationship with Ian and Alan? Because I'm always questioning the jealousy aspect. Does that ever come into play, or is that something we stereotype from the outside?
I was never planning on being in a relationship like this. I had met a throuple before I met Alan and Ian, and that kind of opened my eyes to the possibility and what that entailed. But it's not for everyone. You have to have a certain personality, I think. But for us, it works really great. And I would say that there's not a lot of jealousy. That's not something that really plays a factor.
That's good to hear. Now, Alan, all 3 of you are legal parents to your 3-year-old daughter, Piper, and your 16-month-old son, Parker. Hello, both. Now, the road to get here was not easy. And I wanted to know what was the most surprising thing for you about that process.
We don't have a uterus, so we can't just easily make a baby. And so it takes a lot of planning and foresight. And so, being in a throuple, I definitely had reservations about what would this mean, what would the impact be for the children? Is this something that, even if we want to have children, is this something that would be a good idea for them, a good environment to raise them? And all I can say is it took years of us thinking about it and planning and trying to make steps to prepare for it. We didn't plan on necessarily being able to all be 3 legal parents. So we had a lot of legal preparation and contracts and trusts drawn up, and being able to be all legal was just icing on the cake. But it did feel important for us. Our mindset wasn't to be a trailblazer or to be pushing boundaries. It was really, how can I best protect my children?
Do you have any concerns about bringing your kids up into this world as a throuple, whether what the world may say about them, what your kids might think about themselves? Talk to me a little bit about that.
We're not naive, and obviously at some point this will affect our kids, but every kid is affected by something. Every kid has something that makes them different or stand out. A kid with 2 gay dads, at some point might get made fun of. And so the fact that the thing that makes our kids different is that they have an extra parent to love them, I think is pretty mild when it comes to something that sets you apart and makes you different. We've been very fortunate in our life. All of our friends, all of our families are incredibly supportive.
That's
so,
good.
Actually we haven't had any parent shaming. Now that Ian has his book out and there's lots of PR, I'm sure if we went to comment sections, we'd get parent shamed, but we just didn't do that. And most people, once they meet us, they just really don't bat an eye because they see that we're all normal professionals that are just, raising their kids like everyone else.
Ian, Alan, and Jeremy, thank you so much for sharing your story. I'm going to plug that book. Ian's book, of course, 3 Dads and a Baby, Adventures in Modern Parenting. It's out now. It's available on Amazon and at all major booksellers. Thanks again, you guys. We'll be right back.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Welcome back to DBL. We love hearing from our viewers, but today we're going to hear what our viewers want to know about us. Ooh, are you guys ready? So Jeff, we're going to start with you. Debbie wants to know, what is your favorite thing to grill?
You know what, me and Tori were just talking about lobsters on the break, so I love to grill a lobster tail. So what you do is you split it right in half, and you put the meat side down first to get that nice char look. I won't talk to you about this story because you're already in disgust. But you get the nice char look like on the meat, and then you flip it over onto the shell, and then you can put like butter, oil, herbs, and it kind of cooks itself in the shell. So that's a good like.
How long do you leave that?
Just till it turns, it'll be opaque.
Oh my gosh.
Okay. Into pink. Yeah, into pink.
Save
so
those
once it turns
questions
pink,
till later.
I'm sorry, I wanted to learn from my friend.
Okay, but
Apparently,
we have Tori
this is
as
not
well.
the time nor place.
Here's Tori's question. Andrew has a question for you,
Oh,
girl.
good. Hi,
Aside
Andrew.
from cross-stitching, what's your favorite hobby?
I love
Glad
cross
we
stitching.
got to this.
Can you stop? This is my recent cross stitch. I wanted to show everybody. Look at that.
That's really good.
It's all Marvel characters.
Dude, that is so cool.
Isn't that rad? And then my other big hobby is gardening, and I like to garden in the dress that I wear on the show.
Like you're stalking your flowers.
It's called Gardening in the Runway. It's a little series I have, and I really enjoy doing it.
Where's this series air?
It's on Instagram. It'll be there. It'll be there.
DBL's new every day. We'll see you tomorrow, same time, same place.
Check out Tori's series.
It's there. Oh, a long pause on Tori.
Why
do we have so much time?
I don't know. I love it though.